Today, Scott, the movie we're going to talk about is Cooties, released in 2014. This movie is directed by Jonathan Millet and Carrie Murnian. Apologies if I'm butchering those names. And it has some really well-known actors in it that include Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson, Allison Pill, and a host of others that our audience are going to recognize. What did you think about this movie, Scott?
So I love this movie. And so here's why I really like this movie. So they, again, it's the whole, hey, the school food was poisoned or some weird stuff got into the school cafeteria food and it drives all the kids crazy. And I don't care how bad the film is or how good the film is. Zombie kids are the best.
That was one of the things that I thought was interesting. This may be the very first movie where it's open season murder and mayhem against kids. There's a lot of blood and gore. There's a lot of violence against the kids. And the kids are just ridiculously over the top in how they respond to their virus-induced zombies.
So I thought, just like you just said, it's pretty taboo to have any kids harmed in a movie, even in zombie films. I mean, that a child's something's horrible happening to them, but it's always off scene. You don't really see it. And in Cooties, it was just like, oh, hell yeah, it's open season. We rarely see kids affected by a disease. You see it, but they're like just shuffling with all the parents. It's always the adults that are always attacking. And I thought everybody played into their roles so well. I just enjoyed it. The other thing, Cynthia, I really liked was the love triangle that was going on at the same time during this film. It was just hilarious.
There were so many good comments, like when when Allison Pill and Elijah Wood's character are crawling through the vents. And Rainn Wilson's character is making all kinds of terrible comments about them getting it on while they're up there. I thought that was just pretty hilarious. What didn't work for me, though, is that, and this is just my personal preference, Rainn Wilson does not work for me. His performance, especially the whole rear double wheel that he kept trying to pull off, none of that worked for me at all. So that kind of got under my skin.
Here's the thing I think about his acting style is that you either really like him or you don't. I think it was the same thing for The Office. You either enjoy that character or you don't enjoy that character, right? I look at this like, I don't know if you've ever, I'm trying to think of the British comedian who has done a couple of shows on Netflix. Anyway, he did a show where he had a mental disability, worked in a nursing home. And he has this character that just plays this. He's just the most crass, rude person. And for me, whenever that guy steps into the scenes, it turns me off of that television show. That being said, there are a lot of people who just love his thing. So for me, I think he's one of those people that you've got a taste for him or you don't.
I did not like The Office. I'm not an Office fan. The two characters in The Office that I really could not really, I didn't like them very much, was the Rainn Wilson's character and then Steve Carell's character. Neither one of those characters worked for me. So this is a small budget movie, despite the fact that it has some very large names attached to it. I could not find exactly what the budget was. Did you have any success finding that out, Scott?
I couldn't either. And I questioned the low budget of it, really. I mean, when you have, and I'm not saying that there's not, you got Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings who doesn't go in and do something for a buddy or because he really likes the script. Don't get me wrong. This has got to be in the 5 million range. If it's not, I would love to talk to him because just the special effects alone, all of the crazy stuff that happens with the kids throughout this film. I just don't know how you could do it for under $1 million. And you and I try to find the films that are $1 million or less. I know we've hit the 1.2 mark, like with Rubber and a couple of others, but this one felt, yes, low budget, but not low budget.
It did not feel like a micro or small budget movie. I think it's definitely $1 million plus. The size of the cast, the special effects, lots of gore.
Of gore.
The gruesomeness, there's some scenes like when the guy's doing an autopsy with his bare hands and he says, "I have gloves on." No, you don't.
No, you don't.
I thought that worked out really well.
I mean, Cynthia, there were so taking some of the characters aside, this film to me was hilarious. I mean, did some of it not work? Absolutely. but I found myself laughing more often than not. And I got to watch this with my daughter, and she thought it was hilarious as well. We both just laughed through this entire thing.
I'll tell you probably why I didn't have the same reaction to it is because I saw the selling before I first saw Cooties.
Oh,
And to me, selling is one of the few movies, horror, especially horror movies that I've seen in a long time, that made me laugh out loud. I thought the writing on the selling, which is a whole different show that we'll do,
and we're doing
was
that next week,
fantastic.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Think about it. So when I was comparing the quality of the writing and comedy, and then the fact that Rainn Wilson is just, doesn't work for me. It kind of didn't work for me. I can think of some scenes in here that were also didn't work for me. Like they tried to make the funny scene out of the rape button whenever Elijah Wood's character first goes in
yeah.
as a teacher. No, I know what they were trying to do. It just didn't work. There was a scene in the restaurant where Elijah Wood's sitting down with Allison Pill, and there's another third wheel who's trying to learn how to have a casual conversation. It was not just awkward for the character, but it was awkward for the scene. So those
Yeah.
kind of things took me out of it. But I thought that overall, this was, like you said, for the reasons that you mentioned.
And I think that's why they were able to get away with it, right? Is because it's pretty damn comical. And I mean, they are pushing the limits of, horror comedy there. And my personal feeling is with Cooties, I think they did it really well. It's one of the better done comedy horror flicks. It's up there with Boy Scouts versus Zombies that I really loved. It's just one of those ones where you're taking it to the extreme, and they did it in a way that was I thought much of the special effects were really realistic.
Yes, the very beginning when it was a great scene. Great in the sense it was just made me squirm when they show a close up of a kid eating a chicken nugget and there's brown goo coming out of the
Oh,
chicken nugget. It's like, oh, okay, that's cafeteria food at school, that's for sure.
and I think why this works is, of course, when you start getting in the whole McDonald's, pink goo chicken nuggets goo thing, where they got taken to task for that, and then went, oh well, now they're made out of 100% real chicken, and they weren't before. So I guess that's where Cooties really worked for me, right? Was this whole idea of we really don't know what we're eating, and how it affects us. I would say I would watch this film again, and I would tell other people to watch it. It's a fun film.
What do you take out of this? I mean, the audience probably by now has figured out that we're working on the script for our own horror movie, hopefully to come out sometime soon to a streaming service near you. What did you take out of this that you think we can leverage for the movie we're working on, Scott?
So one of the things that I really take out of this is looking at scenes, right? So they're able to do a lot with very little. So I mean, you're either in a classroom, you're crawling through an air vent, you're on the top of the roof of and what they do very well is using small amounts of space to do it, right? We're in a school, but it never feels like you're in a giant school other than when you're looking from it from the outside. And most of these scenes and things are done there. And I know what we're looking to do is we're basically looking to do this one room shot film. That's what I'm really looking for now in films is how are they using space and how are they lighting it? And to me, I like the way that they were able to use that. I actually enjoyed the scenes where they were in the rooms instead of being up on the roof of the, up on the school. I think there was more of a tenseness in the comedy when they were in smaller spaces. And you know what? It's worth putting it in your queue to watch. Sit down with a beer or a glass of bourbon on a Friday night and just prepare to laugh. And I think you're going to enjoy this film.
It didn't quite work for me, but there were a lot of aspects of it that I really enjoyed, and I thought that was really well done. Really fantastic talking to you, Scott. I'm looking forward to next time.
All right, Senthil, thanks. Talk to you soon.